Hey everyone, AJ the CEO recently did a video on the process he goes through to prepare for each Sunday. I mentioned in the comments that we do something similar, only the way we do it is that we have PowerPoint that is displayed behind the pastor, and also we have lower thirds for the live stream that has the same points. We like to have synergy between the PowerPoint at the front of the church and also the lower thirds. I thought it might be an idea to show you how we do this, as I know some people replied in the comments that they were trying to do the same thing. So what I will do is show you what our lower thirds look like and then show you the process that we do for making our lower thirds and our PowerPoint look the same.
It was a baptism of purification, symbolic of purifying yourself, so that you were once again clean and could come in the midst of the people who were in the midst of God. But John has something else in mind. John comes and he immerses people, and he's doing an immersion, a baptism for repentance. And what's the difference? Well, again, one is dealing with external uncleanness, but here John is dealing with internal uncleanness, which is what? It's sin. Sin is what makes us internally unclean. And what we need to do is repent of our sins. And as part of the symbol of that repentance, John did an immersion.
So now that you've seen what our lower thirds look like and what our live stream looks like, let's get into this. If you find this useful, please like and subscribe to my channel, because I do have other ideas on how to improve live stream and things, and techniques and things that you can use. So let's actually get into the things that we will do for this process. So what happens is that our pastor will send the notes usually by Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we will be able to go ahead and process them, and by maybe Friday or sometimes Saturday, the person who makes the PowerPoint will send me the PowerPoint on that. And what our pastor did was he created the template of the Gospel of Matthew slide there. So what I did was create a background using the color scheme of the orange and everything on that to use as the base template for that. And then what we do is the person who makes the PowerPoint does a great job of visualizing the rest of the points on here with the different visuals that they make there. So what I will show you, I made a lower third with DaVinci Resolve. So what I will show you is I will put in the description of the YouTube video that we will have a Resolve project called Lower Third Templates that you can basically import in, and this template will be able to, you can use this. It's got a basically lower third that has rounded rectangle, and what you'll be able to do, I'll show you basically how you can import it into DaVinci Resolve, and then you'll be able to change the colors around, change the border around, and things like that, and then export it out so that you can use it in whatever presentation software that you use. So let's get started with this. So you can download the link in the description of the video. And what you will need to do then is just basically right click on the project here and in the home folder there and click import project, and then have it placed here on my folder here of the here it's called import lower third template DRP. If you just click on that, it will be a zip. Actually, I don't think I'll zip it up. It should be just a DRP project because it's pretty small. So we will just let you download that, and then once you import that, that will be fine. Now we can just open it up, and then I will show you. There is a Fusion file and the timeline. So if you look at the timeline, you can basically see it's a 5-second timeline. You can see what it looks like there, and it will basically stop. You can basically press it again to loop it so that it will continue to go along, uh, so that it will loop on that. But if you want to make changes on that, to change the color and other aspects of the lower third, then I will show you now in the Fusion file. So go back to the media here, then click here and right click on it. Then you want to go to open in the Fusion page. Okay, so in the Fusion page here, what you can do is, if you want to just keep it simple, here we have the background source, which is just an actual color. You can see there's the orange. So if you click here in the inspector, you can basically change it to any color that you want to change it to there. And then you can see, let's actually bring this up in the window here, over here. To bring this up, let's click OK here. And I'm not sure if you've used Fusion before, but you just need to click Media Out for this one here, and then press 1 there, and then you will see the preview on that. Then you can basically go back over to the node here that says background source, and then you can basically go to the inspector and you can change the color to whatever color you want it to be there, to change that. So you can change the color of things there. Now, another thing that you can do is you can actually make it, instead of wanting to be just a single color, you can make the background be a video or a picture if you want. So let's just do that really quickly. So in order to do that, what you need to do is, let's right click on here and let's import some media. And let's pick this image here. You want to get an image that's actually going to fit nicely in the area there. So let's click here and then click OK. Now, to replace this, what you need to do is click on the background source and then hit to delete it, hit the backspace key. And now you can basically take that and drag this in here. And now we want to connect this media 1 by clicking this little gray box here to our background size box here, like so. And then click our background crop, this box here, to the little blue arrow, like so. and that basically does some cropping. Now, depending on the source of your media, you will need to use the background crop and the background size and background adjust to modify the size of the image. You can see if you zoom in more by if you hold down the control and use the scroll wheel there, you can see that it's not fitting properly in the frame of all of what's going on here on that. So I'm just actually going to go and make adjustments here. So if we click on the background size, we can basically change the size of the width of the image there. So let's bring it more, and it actually keeps the the ratio like so. So you can basically change it so that it will make sure. And now what you have to make sure is that the background crop is going to be cropping in on the, you see it's outside of the border there. So if you go to the background crop here, and then you want to basically change the width of it so that it's cropping that in. So this rounded rectangle is going to be cropping that in so that you don't have things going outside of the, if you bring it in more, then you can see that it's not going to give you the desired effect. So you just make adjustments on this here, and you just make it fit in properly like so. And again, you can zoom in so that it becomes, now you also want to, we can maybe move it down. So if you click on the background adjust here, and then you can use the center here to move it down or up. See, it's moving down or up. So then you can move it like so, so that it will make sure that it is inside the area of the border around. Okay, so that is basically how you can use a picture instead of just a color. So what I would suggest is if you want to make different lower thirds, you can just use the template from the beginning and then just make different copies of it to make different colors, different things on that, um, to make different versions of it there. So if you hit the space bar, you can see what it does is it's got this um, lower third. So if you hit the space bar, you can basically preview the animation of the gleam that's going through there. If you want to, you can also change here. I'll show you the other things that you can change on the lower third. There's here again in this graph here, you can see that we have the next thing is the border, which is, again, as I mentioned here, the border was is basically a gold color. And then you can basically click here under the border color in the inspector that is gold, and you can click here to see that you can change the color of the border by using the color selector here to change it to a different color like so. and change it up to whatever you want it to be there for whatever theme that you want it to be. Then if you don't want to have the border, then what you need to do is go to the border node here, and then in the blend inspector here, and you would just turn the blend down, all the way down. So then it would turn that off. So you can basically turn it on, turn it off, like so. Now you see that the little gleam animation is still going to be there. So if we let's turn the gleam down and then let's hit it. So the gleam still is there because that's a separate thing. So what we can do is let's turn the border back on, and I'll show you what we can do for adjusting the gleam, which is the final set of nodes here. So the gleam animation here, you can basically change the color of the gleam. So let's turn the gleam back, the border back on with the blend is back on, and then here with the gleam color, we can basically click here and we could change it to whatever color you want that to be. The gleam kind of, you want it to be probably white or something like that, but you could change it to be something else there. Make it a pink, whatever fits your fancy, but that's, whatever you want to do there. The other thing that you can do is you can actually adjust the size of the gleam here by adjusting the gleam path here. The gleam path is on here, the width here of the length. If you change that, then you can see how long or short it will be. So you can make it very, very small or however long you want it to be. If you make it longer, the idea is like you can make it be all the way through and just have it go through. I don't like that effect, but it's better to keep it nice and short on that. Because you want it to be a nice subtle thing there. So once you have your lower third looking exactly the way you want it and it's perfect, then you need to export it. So what you need to do is go back to your edit tab, and then you actually need to basically, the timeline is basically what it was from before. So we need to basically go back to our media tab here, and then let's get rid of the timeline, and then we're going to create a new timeline based on the fusion clip here. So just create a new timeline using the selected clip like so. Call it whatever. You can basically create a new one, name it whatever you want to use, whatever on that there. And now if you hit space there was a little bug that the crop doesn't work there, but that basically brings in your new fusion clip stuff there on that. Now, another thing, if you go in here, another tip, if you want to have it loop like so, then just keep it to be 5 seconds, and then it'll just keep looping as it goes. And so it'll continue to go and go and go. Now, but if you want to have a space where it will go for a time and then stop the gleam, then you can make the adjustment by doing here. If you adjust the timeline to a different timeline, so beyond 5 seconds, say 7 seconds, then it'll go 5 seconds to move the gleam along, then it'll pause for 2 seconds and then start again. So I typically will do sometimes, because you don't want necessarily the gleam to keep going, because it might be all the time distracting and stuff like that. So if you want to do it so that the gleam will go for a long and then pause for a certain amount of time and then go again for a certain amount of time, I basically, if you make the timeline say like 21 seconds, then it'll basically go. So if you basically make it go, it stops, and then it'll just wait until it loops around, and then it'll go around again. So you can basically change the have it pause at that point in time if you want to have an effect like that. Okay, so that's another way that you can modify the way that the lower third works with the way that I've got this set up here. So once you've got this now, you need to export this. So you need to go to the Deliver tab here. And what we need to do, oh, that's not Deliver, that's the Fairlight tab. What we need to do is change this here to the Custom tab. We want to change this to custom here. QuickTime is what we want to do, and the codec here is we want to say GoPro Cineform. And when we do that, then we want to change the type here to be RGB 16-bit, because what we want to do is when we change that, then we have the ability to export alpha. This is the way that we get the alpha so that we can put things behind it so that we can turn it into a proper lower third. Okay, so we do that, and then most of the other settings we can keep the same on that. So we just need to do that, and then we just need to change here where we're going to save this. So let's just call this lower third sample, and let's just throw it in video. Like so. And now we're going to add this to the render queue, and then we're going to render all. It's not going to take very long to render, and that should be fine. Now, the next step is to go into Easy Worship and create a template based on that. Easy Worship or another whatever presentation software to bring in your lower third there. So I will now show you how to do that. So in Easy Worship, you're just going to basically go to your Media tab, You're going to import your video that you have just created there. Videos here, and then we're going to find the video that we just made, lower third sample, right here, and we're going to open that there. And so then we can take a look and we can see here that's got that there. And then we need to go to our themes here, and then we're going to create a new presentation theme under themes. We're going to create a presentation, and then we're going to create a new presentation. And then what we can do is we can change the background here. We go to the inspector, bring this over on here so that we can see this. And we're going to go to our background here, and we're going to bring in the use a media fill for this. Now this is going to be different for different presentation softwares, but this is what I'm familiar with for easy worship. So lower third. And there's our lower third sample there. So we bring that in there. And then what we can basically do is just adjust our templates here. This is how we do it with easy worship, so that the text that goes over top of it becomes inside our lower thirds here. And then we just move our title slides down here like so. Again, this is going to be the same or similar to different presentation software like this. I like to turn off the bullets for these, but this is also, again, preferences for you. So this is what you need to do for this, for creating your template for easy worship here. Let's go back here. Let's bring up the inspector. Let's turn off our bullets. There we go. So that's good there. And then we just need to name our theme lower third sample. Let's call it tutorial. Like so. Click OK. There we go. So now we have this, our template that we can use for any of our different things there. So that's basically what we need to do for that. Now, the way that that's one way of doing it, where you have the background as part of the whole, like for the, when you use an image as the background. And the other way of doing it is when you use PowerPoint with different images like so, and I'll show you the other option of doing that. So sometimes the images that aren't going to work really well for the lower thirds. And so what you can basically do is another technique to copy the images and grab the images from the PowerPoint and put them in under on the lower thirds. So what you need to do is basically in PowerPoint, you can just right click on the image that you want to do, and then you want to click save as picture. And then I'm going to make another folder here to save this here. New folder for third tutorial. And then we'll put all the images in here, and then we'll just save this here. And then you just basically do the same for all of these here. Save as picture for all of the different slides there. So I'm just going to go through these quickly. I will speed this up so that we can get all of these pictures here, and we'll move on to the next step. So once you've got all the images exported from PowerPoint, then what you need to do is basically convert them into transparent PNGs. Then you can basically use the transparency of the PNG to put it into Easy Worship, and then you get the alpha channel going through on that. I like to use Affinity, but that's a paid program. So I'll use GIMP, which is a free program to convert it into PNG, and I will show you basically how to do that. So I've got GIMP downloaded. I will put the link to download GIMP in the description of the video as well. So it's already installed, so open with GIMP here, and then I will show you the process of how you can do that. So GIMP is here, and then what you need to do to make it from it opened up as a JPEG. And what we need to do basically is with GIMP is we need to go to the layer menu here. We need to go to transparency, and then we need to go here, and we need to go and add the alpha channel here. Once we do that, then we can go here and click on the fuzzy selection tool. If you don't see the fuzzy selection tool, then you might see that it's the select by color tool. So you just need to basically click and hold on this, and then you can click the fuzzy selection tool. Fuzzy selection tool is the tool that I like to use there. So you can click on that and it'll select the area. Then you hit the delete key, and then you can see that it goes into the checkerboard pattern there. And that's what you need to do. And you basically select the areas around that you want to get rid of there to make that be the place that is going to show the background of whatever is the video or whatever is the background there. So now this is how that you can, now if you export this as a PNG, then you basically will have a transparent PNG background that you can import into Easy Worship or whatever presentation software that you have. So we will just export here, file and export. Export as, and then you just need to basically change the file type from .jpeg to .png like so. Hit export, and then just don't need to change that. Oh, I need to go back to my other here. Just click export, that's fine, and that will export it to the right file type there. So I will just go and do the rest of the other pictures. all of your PNGs, then what you need to do is again go back to Easy Worship and import them as media. So we need to go into our media here, into our images, and then we're just going to go to our add here, and then we're going to go to pictures, and then we have our lower third here, and then we want to grab our PNG files that we added here for all of our different ones that are here, for all of the ones that we just created here, for these ones that we want to add in here, like so. Then the next step that we want to do is I've already created a, as I mentioned before, one that was a lower third that was just the single color of the orange for the theme, like that. So we're going to go in here, we're going to go and create a new presentation here. And let's create a new presentation here. And we'll call it lower third sample. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to change the presentation theme to the more themes here, and we'll find it here. And this is the Jesus Servant King sample there that has already the logo on the right hand side. And so we can basically go in here and we can add the content here. And then what we can do is we can basically go in and we can modify things to bring in the images here. So what we'll do is go here and we'll click our media here. We'll click lower third. Oh, I gotta go to images here. And then you can see the different samples that we have here. So we can basically bring in an image here like so, and then just resize it in for whatever the image is for the point that we want to do, and usually just bring it over to the side. I like to have it come a little outside of the lower third there, and then just make the other text so that it's not blocking like so. And that's the basic idea, like that. So you just make the templates there, and then I'll just cancel that and show you basically what the finished product is there for that. So we'll go back to the presentations of what we had for that. So you can see the way that we bring in our lower thirds is we use NDI to bring it in as the NDI source. You can see that we have a bunch of different lower thirds that we have here. And so here's the one that we did from the 12th, which was from there. And so when we look at this here, then we can bring it in and you can see the different ones that are there with the images that are. Let's bring this down here so that we can see what the different ones are, and we bring it in when the pastor actually speaks about each of the different points there. So I hope, you can actually see, the image is brought in because my NDI is there. Let me just bring my, there. So I hope that you have found this tutorial useful, and hopefully you can use it in your presentations, your live streams, etc. And let me just actually get rid of this here. I hope that you will be able to use this in your ministry